This is the link.
Let's see. Let me hear how we sound.
I think it's okay. Tell me.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Still waiting.
Yeah. Test. Tell me.
Let's see.
It's okay.
Hear how we sound.
I think it's okay. Tell me.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Yes, there is the delay, of
Okay,
course.
did you hear yourself? Because I'm not sure now.
Not that much. Maybe we can boost something.
Waiting.
Yeah. Test. Tell me.
Let's see.
It's okay.
Hear how we sound.
From my side, it's perfect.
Ah, okay. So then
I
it's
think
good.
it's okay. Tell me. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm waiting.
Yes, there is.
So then, okay, then it's good. Okay, cool. Maybe I'm a little bit. Wait, let me check my. I could maybe be a little bit louder now. So 101. I'll do it to like. I'll boost myself to like 6. I don't know. I keep switching my sound on the. I keep switching my sound on the microphone. You know. It's kind of okay. So I boosted myself to 6. It's 6 decibels, so it should be nice now. Should be nice.
Yep. Let's wait for more users to join us.
Yes, sir.
And let's talk about the mighty BitMEX.
The mighty BitMEX, yeah. The mighty giant who almost took the entire Bitcoin down, huh? You see the post from the whales, you know, somebody posted that BitMEX moved like 300 millions or billions or something like that from their wallet, from their security fund wallet, right? But then it turned out to be fake and everybody was panicking already in some channels. But you
No,
know,
I did not see that.
oh, okay, it was like from Crypto Whale or something like that who posted that on Twitter, right? But it's a fake account, so yeah. But I still think the Bitcoin is gonna go down. Like we're gonna check this shit out now and see what's going on. Yeah.
Nothing's really changed since last week.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
we shorted
it's like,
3 times the
yeah,
same stuff, but except from that,
yep,
it's still bearish. Huh?
yep,
Above 10.5k,
yeah.
now we can talk about something bullish, but no.
Look, Arnaud, look how bullish are we on my chart. See, we already reached 20k. Look at that.
Okay, so we have 6 people now. I think maybe we can start.
Okay, so welcome back,
Welcome,
guys.
everyone.
Yeah, welcome back to yet another weekly webinar, huh? So, before we get started, if you have any questions, please post them in the YouTube chat, right? Or wait, are you also monitoring the chat of the Telegram? Because I guess we could also take the questions for them or not. Do you see the chat on Telegram? Or not? Well, wait. I guess connection was interpreted. Wait, let me see. Well, okay. The stream still seems to be working. Okay, then welcome back, guys. Yeah, like I said, if you just post the questions in the YouTube chat, I guess you can do it in the Telegram too. I'll try to see it, and then we'll see, right? But I think Arnaud just got briefly disconnected. He's just writing to me, so give me a second, guys. Give me a minute. Oh wait, you can't hear me. What do you mean you can't hear me? Okay, then welcome back, guys. Yeah, like I said, if you just what? Oh, give me a second, guys. There's some technical difficulties. Discord that we use for a call is actually down. Oh my god. What an unlucky timing, I'm gonna say. Hey man, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
we're
hear me
just
now?
gonna use Telegram
Oh,
for the call during the stream.
okay, okay, okay.
Okay.
There is a platform to fuck us every week. It's not.
It's again, exactly again. I mean, every time we try to do something, like you just said, it's just something happens, right?
Okay, so guys, sorry for that.
Sorry for
Now
that
we can
technical
start.
difficulty, right? And now we can start yet again. So welcome back to webinar, weekly webinar. And like I said, Arnaud is going to be watching Telegram for questions, and I'm going to be watching YouTube for questions. So if you guys got any questions, please do post them. It can be questions about any alts, Bitcoin, Ethereum, blah blah blah, right? We can analyze them all, and we will also try to find some of the new trades that we are gonna essentially pull into trade room for this week, right? Or for possibly even the next week. But first, let's start first with the analysis of Bitcoin. So I'm pretty sure everybody has heard that today BitMEX had a little issue with their engine, trading engine that is, and they produced, after they came back online, they produced a nice healthy week, quote unquote healthy, right? They produced a nice healthy week, down for like 4%, right? And they even stated in their tweet, they're saying, "Oh guys, don't worry, no positions are gonna get liquidated while the BitMEX engine is offline, right?" But then when it came back online, the Bitcoin was down for like 200 bucks from where they stopped, so people got liquidated anyways, right? I mean, that was such a stupid analogy. Of course, you're not gonna crash. Of course, you're not gonna crash if the BitMEX engine is not down, but after it comes online, the price is gonna go there and it's just gonna crash, right? I mean, I don't know what they told about it, right? They said there's not going to be any liquidations. So yeah, daily spoken, like I said, posted it into the trader room analysis this weekend. Actually, that I've been saying that if the weekly closes up here, and which it did, closed in the same kind of range of this, right? In the same kind of range, that this usually means that what you're gonna do is you're gonna rate the lows, right? So what you can do is you can still rate these lows or potentially go even lower. So our target, as you may remember, was actually on Bitcoin was actually this, right? So we have a good chances of still hitting this if we don't break this range, as we just said. So if we don't get above 10,100 from a weekly basis, we still have good chances of rating this sort of a profit target, right? Which in this case, we can even scale it all the way down here where we first talked about longing it in the first place. So that was about 7,400, right? Because if you scale down to a lower time frame, we were saying that yes, we were hunting this long to begin with, right? But it was already tested by doing this here, right? So now when it comes the second time around, it's probably gonna go a lot lower. So that's about being 7,400, and with our stop loss is gonna be around 7,000. This is gonna be our new long, right? Obviously, we're not gonna post it just yet now because it might still take a week or two for this to happen, and for that it would be lost in behind, of everything else that we post in the channel, right? So we won't post that one yet, but if that happens, and what we have in plan, so if the week is hold like we just said, right? Then we will focus on that in the future, right? To post future trades for it. Even when you go down to daily, Bitcoin has been holding this area for quite numerous times now, right? And to a lot of guys, you might say that this is like one of those things when you're testing, you're grinding against an area, grinding, and they finally broke it, right? But Bitcoin doesn't seem to be doing that lately. I mean, back in the day, it was logical to do this. I'm not gonna lie, when you had this sort of when you were jumping from one support, right? Many times, you then broke down it, right? So in this case, when you were touching a support many times, you went broke through it, right? Yes, that makes sense back in the days, but now you have kind of this new market maker, which is not as usual one as what we had back in the day. Now it's totally different, right? Now when you're grinding towards one support, you usually move in the opposite direction, right? So when Bitcoin looks the weakest, it pumps. When it looks the strongest, it drops, right? And now, if you look at it daily, we touched it. We had one test, second test, and after each test we dropped, right? We always dropped a little bit less, but now we have a third test, and again we're not mooning through it, right? And now you should think about it. If we touched it so many times, we should easily moon through it, right? But it's not happening. Why is it not happening, right? So now it makes me even believe now that after this, what we just observed on weekly, right? As I just saw it like this, that we're actually quite developing a decent chances to rate these areas below, right? With decent chances. And that would be our best guess. So obviously, if we break above, right, which if that happens, we are obviously not gonna be like, oh shit, we misinterpreted. No, definitely not, right? If we go broke above this, we're just gonna long this area right here. We're gonna be prepared for it once it comes down, right? The one thing we won't do, you know, FOMOing into, right? So we're not gonna be in fear of missing opportunity, right? So what that means is if the price goes above 10k, I'm not gonna be smashing a market trade right into it, right? That's what I mean by my market smashing, you know, along on it. I won't be doing that, right? Because that is not a smart play when it comes to these things, right? Um, Essentially, what can still happen? You can get a nice week up and then close right back in. If you get a week up and close right back in, then it's a heavy short, right? Because that's a really bearish pattern, and you have a good chances that you're gonna rate the lows, like I just said. But if you have a nice slow price action, right? So we're talking nice slow price action, you know, just going up slowly, slowly breaking up, right? Going up and you staying above it for a couple of days and everything, it's gonna return here and then you're gonna long it, right? One thing is you don't have to be in fear, guys. You know, Bitcoin does not leave that many untested level behinds, right? So, like I'm gonna tell you like this: 5K is sorry, this level is technically still untested, right? This one is still untested, right? And now if we broke out, this one is gonna be untested as well. So I'm gonna tell you that Bitcoin is sooner or later gonna return to 10K and then give you a reaction from it, right? It's not gonna just leave all of these levels untested, right? It's some in the future it's gonna come down, probably test this one as well, right? We don't know for this one, but for this one I'm pretty certain it's gonna test, right? Uh, so no need to FOMO, no need to fear that you're missing the entire run up or everything like a lot of people did back in the day. This is why we're here, to kind of give you that security, right? And to kind of help you make the smarter choices, right? And even if you look from a retrospect, look at how big this level here is, right? I mean, look at it, right? Look at the size of this level, right? I mean, are you really gonna tell me this that we're never gonna test this again? That it's just gonna moon up to 20k? Come on, right? I mean, let's use logic in this kind of sense, right? So yeah, 6k was always was tested in on the way down, right? So even when you moved after it, you still tested the 6k and moved up, right? So it makes a whole lot of sense that we would not just moon from it, and that there's no need to panic if that happens. But we don't even know if that's gonna happen in the first place, right? So we see right now. Right now we're still remaining bearish because the price action is telling us so. But once we move above that point, we're gonna have to move ourselves to bullish, and you know, kind of essentially saying that bull run can start. Although I don't know how long the bull run is gonna last, because if we go into a bull run right now, I do think it's a bad idea because the volume is real volume, that is at the lowest, right? The volume is really low, and a lot of people will be just surprised, you know, because you didn't have any big accumulation periods, you didn't have anything before the new bull started, you know, so that wouldn't be exactly optimal start of the bull. So I'm still thinking that it's not gonna happen because of that. But if it is gonna happen, like I'm pretty sure this time around it won't be as strong as 20k. Just because for the reasons I just explained, you know, I don't think we're gonna get nearly a strong bull run as 20k due to that fact, and I don't even think alts are gonna do half of the move they did back when we went to 20k, right? That's just what I think harsh reality is in this case. Even if you go to Coin market cap and we check out the market cap, right? I mean, market cap did recover, right? But we're still far, far away from the current market cap, which was 800 billions at the time. Now we're around 250 billions, right? And if you look at it, we're only halfway there from 20k, right? So we should at least be on 400 billions by now, and we're obviously not. So what that even tells you is there's a lot of volume, a lot of players missing from the market because they're just simply not interested due to the price action development, right? So like I said, the healthiest more price action would be like this: you go down to 5k, something like that. You maybe rebounds back to 9k, right? Then you go down further. You maybe rebounds from 3k up to 5k, or you then go even lower, right? And then you start a nice accumulation period, a nice one which would last you a year or two, or anyways, right? Nice accumulation period, and then you slowly start moving up again, and that would bring in a lot more players, a lot more healthier for alts. Obviously, the many alts that we see out there would die, but there will be new alts and possibly even better ones. This time around, they should have done or could have done a lot more to deserve their spot what they did back in the past, because many of those alts that we see up here ain't doing shit, right? Let's be honest about here right now. I mean, XRP is still up here, and they're really, when you look at it, they're just worthless at the moment, right? And many other alts who don't deserve the spot of being in the 100 top 20, top 100, which I know for a fact didn't do shit in the last 2-3 months, right? So that's really not acceptable if you ask me, for somebody who's trying to develop a new technology or something, right? Okay, that's pretty much it for Bitcoin. Ethereum, a totally different story when it comes to it, right? Ethereum has so long to go for it to do something, right? Ethereum is more logical than Bitcoin when it comes to this fact, because Ethereum hasn't even broken the top it created on 30th of April, right? So this top was created 30th of April, and it rejected quite from a lot from the possible the best point that you can, right? And didn't break the top. So this one is falling behind Bitcoin by a lot, and it's moving a lot more sensible, right? It's not as forced as Bitcoin is, which you can see, Definitely you can see from days like this on Bitcoin, when a main exchange falls, main exchange stops, and you suddenly drop $300. Then you already know where all the volume and all the faking is coming off. It's from it's from basically from the BitMEX, right? It was found right today. So anyways, for Ethereum, same story could be happening. You already lost this level, so this could be test to the top and then going swooping this lows yet again, right? But for Ethereum, you still have place to test this, right? You still have place to test this and potentially this, right? So Ethereum hasn't tested all the levels that is possible by Bitcoin, right? So Ethereum could still potentially go up here and still crash down, right? Because it's, like I said, it's falling a lot behind Bitcoin. Let's just see Ethereum Bitcoin chart, right? So we talked about having a little trade down here, and look at now, it's again, we came back down, right? We pumped all the way up here, we failed to go over the top, and we returned back to the origin of the pump, right? Which is something on Ethereum you could do as well, right? You failed to go over the top, right? In this case, and you return back to the origin of pump, right? That is a logical move as well, right? Which happened on Ethereum BTC chart, which tells you even more that it's why it's falling behind. So what's gonna happen now in Ethereum BTC chart is, what's going to be happening is probably going to test this and then drop further, right? That's what probably, because if you want to go, if you want to have another shot at top, you have to regain this. But most likely, due to how deep you tested this is, you're not going to gain this. Obviously, it's possible, right? But it's by the price action. It's most likely I'm seeing that shit like this doesn't happen, right? And so for now, for the future, right, if I was looking for a trade right here, I would probably try to short this, right? Or if that fails, then I would short for sure this. I will short this 100% of the time. Like again, like this was supposed to be a short, right? Because you just gotta play the pattern, right? Gotta play the pattern until it proves you wrong, right? Then we got XRP, right? Everybody's favorite XRP, right? We had 2 boxes on XRP. Yeah, so I posted a video on XRP, I mean on 4C we posted a video, right? Basically stating what needs to happen for XRP to some sort of for us to jump on the trade, right? And you can already see we did these 2 boxes. We said that we have to see a reaction inside those 2 boxes, right? Sorry, we have to see a reaction inside those 2 boxes. Now the issue is these boxes are really fat, so you can't really set up a trade in it, right? We had a little reaction right here. See when it came together in the 2 boxes, but these reactions are really marginal for somebody that is just coming into these super high areas, right? So for now, it's really, you can't really trade these coins anyways to begin with, right? So for now, something like this should have happened, right? We need to go back above this, right? We need to go back above this and possibly even test this, like I said, right? If we do that, then we can take another step at this area down here with placing stop loss under the low, and hopefully it's gonna take us higher to at least first profit target, and hopefully we're gonna regain this point back to second profit target, and then we can start seeing some trades on XRP. Until it does that, XRP is completely dead. Like I can't even like I don't even know what to do with it, right? To be honest, I mean XRP was only good for shorting, like should be shorted at every possible resistance because it just continuously gives you money on shorts XRP, right? So if you're playing it on Bitmax, just short it until it tells you it's wrong, right? It's one of the prime examples of how alts are not doing much and are just completely dead when it comes to this party, right? Then we got TRX. Oh yeah, sorry, we did 2 boxes actually. Okay, so we have one trade like here. So we were hoping that it would do something like here, but nothing. It's just continued going down. So there's the only trade available right now, which again, I guess Arnaud, now it's the time that we can post it slowly, because it looks like it's gonna be hit in about 11%, right, Arnaud? So
Oh, yes.
we can post this TRX chart in the trading room as our first trade. Wait, I'm gonna have to do a box on it because obviously box. Uh, Obviously it's a box because the buy area is a little bit stretched, right? So I'm gonna do it like this, and I'm going to do it like this with the stop right below, about 5% stop, which is pretty good. And that would be, we could say this is our first trade for the day, Arnold, right?
Would you recommend a normal level of risk for that
For
one?
this one,
Like,
since it's hitting the top, and I'm gonna say like, yeah, we didn't actually, I mean, we went above this a couple of times. We had a little reaction here. I'm gonna say that this one could perhaps be taken as 1%, right? Could be perhaps taken with the 1% risk. And the R,
1%.
1%, 1%. Let's just keep it, then if we're gonna take it with that risk, I'm just gonna keep the R a little bit lower to this. So I'm gonna do it like this. So it's 1.5% on the first trade and 4.5 on the second one. So I'm gonna do it like this, yes, because I do think that we have to clip it a little bit due to slow reactions on the alts. So I'm gonna give you this new chart which I updated. Satoshi Nakamoto, could you guys take a look at XMR? Okay, thanks in advance. Okay, yes, USDT. Sure, Satoshi Nakamoto. XMR USDT. Let's see, Binance. Yes. Oh, so yeah, we traded this one, and we said this is a key. This is a key element to hold for it to go higher, and exactly we holded this and we went higher, right? So if you wanted to trade this, and then sadly the best entry that you could have gotten on this one was missed. It was right here. This is exactly the same entry we kind of taken it on TRX as well, right? With the stop right under the lows, and it would be perfectly filled here, and it would go higher, right? So now, for us, what we need to do for me to find another trade on XMR is, I mean, long,
We
right?
can also short it.
Well, the thing is,
We could short that zone,
yeah,
no?
yeah. The thing is, right now is that those two opportunities are gone, right? So now I'm gonna have to look at it for at least for it to tag this, right? If it tags this, I would go for a little short in this area, right? I mean, as how this chart is moving at the moment. So let's see if I go this, how big the stop is. It's 9%.
Oh,
It's a little bit more than I wish for. So there is a short. If you wanna do it, you can do it like this, or we can actually go on lower time frames and see what the fuck is going on in that. Okay, so by the daily time frame, I would move this to up here. Yes, I would move this to up here, and then I would crunch it right in the middle there, and I would move my stop loss right up here. So now I clip it down to about 5%. That would be my short for the XMR, right? And hopefully it's not gonna overreact, because if I look at it here, it didn't overreact, right? If I look at it here, it didn't overreact, so I'm hopefully not expecting to overreact. But you want safety, you can put it up here, right? But then it stretches itself to like 6%, which is also okay, it's not problematic. Then you have to take your first profit target around here. Yep, around here you gotta take it, and then hopefully the rest is gonna be a little bit of bigger runner, right? It's gonna be a bigger runner. If that
yeah,
happens,
but
right? If that happens,
there is no way that
yes.
it could increase up there if BTC start to drop right now, right?
Yeah.
So it would mean BTC at 10.5k, something like
Oh yeah,
this,
yeah,
if X ever.
true that as well. Yeah. So that would mean the BTC would have to break out as well, like you just said. Yeah. Uh, if I wanted to look for longs, so what I will first wait, I would wait for it to gain this area and to move above this, right? So in this case, if it does something like this, you can then start to look for a long here. And if I'm not mistaken, this is about what is say about 16% from our entry, which is a good way. So if you're still in short, Jesus Christ, there's some motorcycles out there. So if you're in short, you can look this as a hedge for a long, right? So in this case, I'm gonna wait for the structure to form, but I can already see that if we gain this, I'm gonna be looking at something like this, right? And stop loss is probably gonna be around under this wing up down here. Oh shit, again 9%er. So I'm gonna have to clip it on like lower time frame and probably adjust it to this side. But I'm not gonna adjust it that tight. I'm gonna go a little bit under because I don't want to be wigged out, right? So it's about again gonna be 5 to 6%. But we'll see once the price, if the price ever gets there, we'll see what's gonna happen then down here, and then we will be able to long it, right? So we can save it for now and just see how it's gonna play out, and then we can readjust once the price goes up there, and we actually see the structure that it's following it, right, in the steps. So okay, so then we can move on to Litecoin, right? Litecoin is probably didn't do much. Oh yeah, for Litecoin we had this. For Litecoin we said okay, so we got nothing to the left side, right? We got nothing to the left side, so we had to use an old-fashioned Fibonacci to determine an entry. And we almost found it, right? I mean, we almost found it. That line was really super close. I mean, it can still be hit. I mean, Litecoin didn't do shit yet, right? But now we can watch it on lower time frames. And again, same story as TRX, or should I say XRP? Because again, we have to go above this. If we go above this, I want to see us stack at least this, or even this. In this case, if this attacks, I'm gonna be taking a pullback here with the stop under the low, and we'll be seeing if this is gonna move, right? If not, if that's not gonna happen, then I'm expecting another resistance down here. Like I said, when we use our trusted Fibonacci for this one to paint it out. So this can be hit, and then we'll see if it breaks above this, right? Then we have to see some breakage above this. So we'll see out what happens on this one as well. But not much to say because Litecoin is fading away as same as the XRP is, right? I mean, it's just fading away. They're not doing much. And you can, I mean, it's seen from the chart that they're not doing much, right? Okay, so XRP, we had our questionable area like we did the last time, and we actually had a nice little reaction from it. And again, right, the area is vast, but the reaction was 8%. So it is quite sad when you see coins coming into such a important levels areas and they only give you 8% of the movement, right? It's not really something you would get excited for, and that's the problem of the alts these days, right? So again, for this one, I don't even know what to tell you so far. I mean, I wouldn't even trade it even if it went above this, right? I mean, it has to do some serious move because from what I'm looking at right now, it's probably going to do another low, right? It's probably going to go under this, and then it will probably go higher, and then we can take another trade. But as it's looking right now, definitely not worth for me to take in trades, right? Because I do think this is going to be, the structure is so pitiful right here that I do think this is going to break and do something like this, right? So we'll see what happens on this one. The idea would be to kind of break down, go above this, and then we'll see what happens here, right? If it can paint something as beautiful as this, then it would be lovely, right? Boom, we can do ADA, let's see ADA. So ADA held our area, that was beautiful. ADA held our area, did a little TP, nothing too fancy, right? I mean, that was a nice trade. Definitely looks a lot better than everything else, but it's struggling with the same problems, right? I know a lot of people would do this right now and say, "Oh yeah, look at this, we got a triangle, and now it's gonna go into one way," right? But as you might know, we don't do triangles because we do things this don't work as well as people are telling you, right? So right now it is like simple as this. If you can't hold this area, so what I mean, if you can't stay above it, it's gonna go lower. So it's gonna eventually go lower under this. But this trade was pretty nice. This trade was pretty nice, played out. Too bad it didn't hit the last profit target though. Too bad. It just missed it just by a little bit. So yeah, we'll wait what happens here. So if it holds this area, goes try higher, then we can do another try at the long. But from what I'm seeing right now, it's most likely not gonna, because it already had, like we said, three tests, right? So in the logical of Bitcoin sense, when I said before, three tests would usually mean that it goes higher, but for alts, it's not like that because they do not have the same market makers than everybody else, right? So we also had a trade on CTC USDT, right? And people voted that one to be in wait, what was the result of the poll? People said that they want some analysis on some coin. Which one did win, Arnaud?
Which one? For the call of the week tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's what you are speaking.
yeah.
Let me. For now, it's EOTech.
Okay,
So
so we
maybe
can
we can
check
take a look.
EOTech, yeah. So for the first time, let's first check this one. How we play this coin. So if you remember, guys, we multiple times mentioned that we should watch this coin, right? Why should we watch this coin? Because it is a Binance IEO, right? And as you may remember, Binance IEO's coins, they usually react in totally different ways just because you just know they have Binance market makers on it, right? So first trade was right here, if you remember, and we sold it right here. Right? That was the first trade that we anticipated in the CTI saw. Then we had another trade down here. The only problem was the API was giving us errors. When I tried to send in the trade, we couldn't find it by the API. I don't know, it was the issue of Binance, and we ended up missing this entire big move, which kind of pissed me off because I knew it was coming, right? But what we said, it's not a problem, so we're just gonna do another play. So what we did, right, was found another play right here, crashed last night, hits our TP right now, and now it's probably going to go, if it can hold this, area, it's gonna go lower, right? So it's gonna go lower here, and then we possibly can take another trade down here. I'm gonna be calling another trade down here, and then see what happens. But firstly, let me just see what's gonna happen up here, so because I do not want to call the trades too soon. I'm just giving a trade a room to breathe, right? But when the coin is going down and you already start to see volume deteriorate, right? It's not a good price action for it to go up, right? So we'll see what happens with this one, but definitely ended up being a pretty good trade, right? We even had like what? Or no, we had like three shorts that brought us pretty nice R, right? I mean, if I remember right, Arnaud, it was something like this, right?
7 hour, yeah,
7 R
7 hour
to,
to
yeah,
in
we
two
had
days.
these three shorts on Bitcoin, so we had a pretty well week with manual trading. I was like, I mean, bots did fairly well as well, but when it comes to weeks like this, that's the issue, right? Because with such weeks, you can stop out bots, right? And you can't really help it because market is overreacting. But during those times, we try to kick it in with manual trading and just help it as best as we can. And I think we are doing a pretty good combination right now because we are making quite a decent percentage, right? I mean, sometimes people expect too much. Like you see people expecting like 20, 30, 40% per month. Like that's not realistic, guys. I mean, you guys gotta look at it from the normal people perspective. Like 5%, 3 to 5% is quite a lot in real world. We've just when it comes to crypto, people are just spoiled and they just want more and more money, right? So let's check EOTech's Bitcoin. And again, guys, if you got any more questions, please do post them because we are slowly getting to the end of our weekly stream, right? So if you guys got some questions, we will still answer them, and that will be it. Slowly, right? Okay.
$20 Satoshi. Thanks also.
Okay. So I already dislike this because yes, like you just mentioned, Arnold, it's a low Satoshi coin. What does that mean is when I enter into trade, and if my trade goes to hit stop loss, every Satoshi, right? Because obviously you're gonna be slipped, right? Every Satoshi then that I lose, right, is 7%. Like holy shit, look at that. So if you sleep for just like 2 or 1 Satoshi, you already slipped on your stuff for like 10%. So I really dislike trading those trades, right? Those coins, right? But for me, there's not any trade for it for right now. I mean, we would at least have to go above this for me to even consider finding any trades at all. And even if we go above this, I'm not talking this, I'm talking this, right? Something like this has to happen for me to start considering those trades. So on EOTech, not a lot of opportunity, right? We can maybe check USDT contract if there's any better. USDT contract is
I
not.
know that their mainnet will be available as from June.
So
So
that's the thing then with the other. Okay, so the thing is
yeah,
again, right? When you look at the USDT contract, look at this. What are you gonna take the trade here, right? Everything has been tested, right? Because chart has this strange. I really hate when they do this. The chart has this strange movement on the sideways, and they just testing everything, right? They're just testing everything. So right here, when I look at chart like this, I'm without a trade, right? The only trade I will possibly take is probably down here. The only trade I will possibly take, right? I mean, everything else, I don't have the trade for it, right? And on BTC pairing, it's not looking very good. It's definitely not a coin that I would trade, right? So obviously we got some we got some info that some what you just said that is going live, right? Then yes, then it's a
yeah,
possibility,
my net is going live. Yeah.
but then you gotta ask yourself
Next
again,
month.
right? How much does mainnet do these days, right? I mean, it's not really helping you that much, right? I mean, it's just mainnet, right?
If nobody use, if you have no utility, it's not that you have
Yeah.
your own blockchain won't change anything. So yeah,
Yes. Bitcoin.
but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's still a good news anyway. So.
Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash might react from down here. It's one of those points where I would trade Bitcoin. So I'm thinking that taking a Bitcoin Cash here on this level is actually not a mistake or not, because it is quite a similar one. Let me see how much. Oh, 11% stop. But I'm not sure if I can put it here or not. It's like I'm begging to get rate if I put it here. It's like I'm begging.
Yeah, kind of dangerous, I think.
But I'll still do the box. Let's see. I'll do the box. That would be the
Or
place, right?
maybe in 4 hours you can find something more accurate.
Yeah, the problem. Yeah, the thing is, the structure is quite sideways, right? So I'm not really sure if we can find it in this case. Yeah, I don't think I would.
No, the
Yeah,
stuff
I don't think
has
so.
to be the same.
Yeah, so it's a big stop in this case. We'll draw this one up. Whoops. Let me do a box. The box could tends. The box could be a little bit higher even, to be honest. Like it could be like this, right? Because it is, and then I'm gonna move it like this, and I'm gonna have to use the daily to mark my stop loss. Would have to use my daily. So yeah, right under this candle, so it's about 7%er, and that's one of those trades I would take on Bitcoin as well. The only problem is we didn't gain this. We didn't go above this, right? So we're not that bullish, but I would still take it, right? I would still take in the first profit target around here, second one here, and you're probably never gonna reach the top again if we come down here. So I'm gonna do it like this. That would be my third profit target if I'm taking it. That would be pretty much it. We can save this one because this one still has time. Idly tested. I'm not really seeing any positions that would be available for me right now. So I'm going to say this one, definitely not. Bitcoin, USDT, we already said it. Dash. Okay, somebody asked me about Dash. Yes. We said it has to hold one area, right? If I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah. So same thing as we did on the Bitcoin Cash, right? But the stop is again fat as fuck because there's no position to place a stop, god damn it, right? I mean, I could have placed stop under here, but this one is too soon, because it can easily test this, because these things overreact as hell. So I'm gonna have to wait, right? If it goes above this line now, then this trade is invalidated anyways. It has to do something like this and then hit it, right? Probably it's gonna do another bounce here and then hit it, right? So we'll see what happens here. So this one stays untouched from the last session. ETC USDT. I mean, again, right? When we're looking at USDT charts, right? The longs are all the same. The charts are so similar to each other, right? That we don't really have any special trades, right? They all look the same as you already stated, Arnaud, right? So
Yeah. So the only question is, will BTC reach 10.5, and that's it.
yeah, I mean, as I said, right? We don't know that one. It says right now it's still bearish. We can't really change your facts about this because nothing has really happened to deteriorate that bearishness from us, right? And but at least look at Link, right? We said that it's gonna touch up here again, and then it starts rejecting, right? I mean, that was a perfect analysis That was a perfect analysis for Link. Definitely loving this. Now I'm looking if it's gonna drop down to this range again. Looking at it, right? I mean, actually, it should have been done here already. It's 14th of March, but I'll leave this still on to see if it's gonna play out. Why not, right? This one we're not taking. So we did take another short again. Like we said, we took another short on Litecoin because it's so dead. And look, it was filled. It filled our profit target beautifully, right? Now this is a nice trade. We should have called this one actually, Arnaud. We forgot to call this one. That was actually
Yeah,
1.4.
on trade room, but we make the decision to take more
Yeah.
actively manual trade on trade room
Yep.
on Wednesdays.
No.
That's why.
Yeah, I know, I
That's
know.
why.
Yeah, this one missed our entry. This one as well. TRX gave us a nice reaction already the first time when we tried it, right? Hit like two profit targets. VET was also one coin that was special. We said it's special, right? But right now, again, it's kind of rolling over, and again, it has the same pattern as Bitcoin Cash and everything the other coin we were talking about, right? It's looking like if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it down here, right? I don't see any other places where we could have done it, right? This one sadly wicked us a little bit past it, but then we had two trades because we couldn't decide if this one is good enough. So we had another trade field here, and then it gave us big R as well. So that one but those was all trades that we played after the competition as well, right? This one was just as we just talked. We'll see what happens on this one. XRP stays the same. Tezos, nothing new, and Zets. Let's see Zets. Zets still. Yeah, Zets. I wouldn't take it here again. I wouldn't take it here again. I would probably go for something lower, and then I wouldn't get filled because I would be bidding this area. Would maybe get filled here. Like I'm gonna say maybe the first buy, but that would be pretty much it. Anyways, I will also go through a little bit BTC pairings, but BTC pairings are still looking shit, right? I will go a little bit through with them and then we can post something, and I'll also make some videos about it, right, in our channel, right? So Arnold, if we got no new questions in this time, I think we can slowly wrap it up. We did analysis of plenty of coins, we found some trades, we talked about Bitcoin, what happened, and everything else, right? I mean, we
Yes.
kinda
Yeah.
we kind of cleared the air with this whole thing that we had with the halvening, right? Because as we can see, not much has happened, right? What halvening did was just a temporarily boosting a little bit of volume, right? And that was it. Like it didn't even last you 2 days, right? And this is exactly what we perceived. And now volume is even lower than it was before, right? So yeah, at the end of the day, nobody really gave a shit about halvening as we thought so. And not only that, the graph dropped for like 1k on the day of the halvening. So it's not that heavy, true guys. You just gotta listen to us, and you'll be doing just fine. Yeah.
Yeah, but if we look at the history now, the peak of the bull run after the halving was after
Yeah.
400 days or something like this, you know.
Yep.
So I don't think that on the day of the previous halving there was some kind of huge pump or I don't know. So that was just a non-event because too many people was.
Yeah. Too many people were knowledgeable about it. You know, you can okay, of course,
Yeah,
you can rally
yeah,
up.
that's it.
You can rally out after some time. I'm definitely not saying that's not true, right? Uh, but you know, it's just not something that uh, we can expect when we are really heavy resistance that it's gonna push over that really heavy resistance, especially if everybody knows about it, right? Because
Yeah, but anyway,
yeah,
we will halving or not halving, we will continue to trade level by level.
yeah,
When it will be bullish,
yeah.
you will know. Yeah,
Yeah, right now, I mean, right now we
that's the
don't have
same.
any trade on Bitcoin. Right now, except the bots. Bots are trading their own strategy. That's totally different than us, right? But when we look at it from our perspective, the manual perspective right now, when we go down to like lower time frames and we just zoom in, whoops, sorry. When we zoom in, we don't have any trades right now. Everything is tested, right? Everything that we played, we tested upstairs, we tested downstairs, we tested the middle. Now we're just gonna have to wait. Do we go lower? Do we go higher? We need something to happen for us to take another trade, right? This range for us in this case is exhausted, right? So we're just waiting for us to move something higher so we can do another trade on Bitcoin, right? So for during that time, we're just gonna be posting alts, and that's
A
about it.
big fat SFP on 10.5 would be really great.
Yeah,
What do you
that
think?
would be great, yeah. But I would say not 10.5. I think it's gonna happen. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna go up to like 11k or something like here, and then go back in.
Yeah,
And I would,
of course, because
yeah,
you have to talk those buyer in,
yeah.
then we can show.
Because look, every stop everything is resting up here, right? So think about it, right? So if you'd go up all the way to 11k and then drop, that would be pretty good, right? I mean, that would you would liquidate a lot of guys, and a lot of guys would fill their shorts in, and then the bear run would continue, right? So that would make a lot of sense to do so, right? But like I said, from weekly based perspective, when you had why am I still drawing this? When you had weekly candles like this, right? You had a lot of chances of testing the under the candle this one, right? Or even lower in some cases, right? Many of the times this has happened when you happen even here, right? You mean look at it, even here when you hold the range of this candle, right? Look where you went after it, right? And that's a quite considerable drop. That's like 2 or 3k drop right here, right? So it's the same shit happening right over here, right?
Yeah.
Even here, right? You then dropped for like 2k, I don't know, and went down, right? So you can see that sort of thing. And even here, right, when you had it like this, you then tested the lower bottom of the candle and then even went lower the next week, right? So it's pretty much the same shit. So if something is telling us that it's been done a lot in the past, why shouldn't we play it again, right? It's just logic for us, right? Until we're proven wrong, because we're playing price action, we're not trying to. We don't have any crystal glass here to analyze or saying where the price would go, right? Oh, but Bata is acting iOS USDT. I think we just did that one, and we had a
No,
yeah.
we did ERTX,
Yeah,
but
but we
not the
did this
same.
one during the stream because we had a trade under. If you still remember, this was still from competition when we had this nice.
Ah, yes, yeah. Yeah.
It actually looks worse than other. This pair does not look good, to be honest, or not. Does not look good. Area for you to hold is this. If you're gonna go under this area, and which is look like you are, it's gonna go lower, right? So if it drops under this right now, I would just get out of it. I wouldn't hold this one, right? Because then most likely we're gonna retest this, as we just said. It's pretty similar graph, but a little bit worse, right? So this is the area to hold. If you can't hold it, you're gonna go lower. That's the simple logic when it comes to Babata, right? So I guess this would be it for this week then, huh, Manat? We got nothing more.
Yep.
Okay.
See you guys
Thank you
same
guys.
same
Thank you for
time.
joining us. See you then next week. We'll be doing this whole thing
And
again
take
at
care.
the same time, same hour, same day, same hour, same time, right? And yeah,
Until then, take care of
keep
you
us
guys.
following us. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you guys. See you later.